If you are looking to lose weight and improve the health of your 100 trillion cells at the exact same time, intermittent fasting is for you. And it's cheap. It's cheap. You're essentially not eating anything, and it's the non-diet approach. So today we're going to talk all about intermittent fasting, how to go about it, and how to make it work for you and not against you. So let me take a step back and introduce myself. I am Taylor Wessel of Tailored Health, and every week I pop on here to share a simple, effective nutrition tip or lifestyle tip that will help you just be that little bit healthier. My whole approach is simple steps leading to big and, more importantly, lasting change. So tune in every Wednesday for a new video. Okay, so back to intermittent fasting. Well, let's step back and explain exactly what is intermittent fasting. Well, fasting is a modality that's been around throughout cultures since the beginning of time. Essentially, food wasn't always available, and now in our current day, food is on every single corner, whether it's a McDonald's or a Starbucks or a convenience store. We constantly have access to food. Americans are overeating, and we're eating all throughout the day. So intermittent fasting is a period of time where you go without any food. You're essentially just drinking water, but we'll talk about some other things to incorporate in if you feel like you can't just do a water fast. So when you are going just on water and you're cutting out the food intake, your body has all sorts of energy to go into repair and restore mode. So digestion is the most energetically demanding process within the body, and it requires up to 80% of your energy. That's crazy. So think about it. If you're eating food all day long, from the second you wake up until right before you go to bed at night, your body never gets a chance to do those extra jobs like balance out your hormone, give you energy, and help you sleep great at night. Those are seen as extra benefits. It will immediately go to just digesting your food. So when you go longer periods of time without eating, everybody's going into a fast unless you're waking up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. So for 8 hours, hopefully, if you're getting the right amount of sleep a night, you are essentially fasting without even thinking about it. But intermittent fasting is expanding that window outwards to, I would say, at least 12 hours if you can handle it, starting with 12 and working up towards more, and we'll talk about the different approaches as well. When you go at least 8 hours of fasting, and preferably 12 hours or more, your body starts dipping into your fat stores for fuel. So you turn from a sugar burner into a fat burner. So that's great for weight loss, and it's also great for regulating insulin, which is your fat storage hormone. Also great for blood sugar balance and diabetics. But if you are a diabetic, I would really be careful with intermittent fasting and not push that too far. So, intermittent fasting, what are the approaches? How do you go about it? So what I recommend is starting with a 12-hour fast. And how I like to look at it is to eat an earlier dinner rather than to skip that breakfast. I really feel like breakfast is the most important meal of the day because it does jumpstart your energy, your mood, your mental clarity for the day. And if you're in fast mode and you're not used to it yet, you can really be struggling in these areas. So eating an earlier dinner and then still eating breakfast within the hour and a half of waking up is my best advice to you, especially for the women out there who have adrenal issues or are trying to rebalance their hormones. So what that would look like for starters is perhaps you stop eating by 7 p.m. You have your dinner on the earlier side, and really that's great because when you're in digestion mode, you can't go into rest and repair mode for sleep. So the earlier that you finish your last meal, the better off that it is for sleep quality. So you stop eating dinner by 7 p.m. and then you don't eat breakfast until 7 a.m. the next morning. Doesn't seem all that hard, right? We should be doing that on a daily basis. But then I challenge you, if your body's okay with that, maybe you try adding 1 more hour. And if you can, expanding outward to do the 16-8 approach, which is 16 hours of a fast and then 8 hours of an eating window. And naturally what happens within this period of time is that you're cutting down your eating window, so you typically end up not eating as much. But if you do feel like you binge eat during these periods of time, we really have to talk about that fasting window and kind of close it up a little bit, and maybe not to go the full 16 hours of fasting. So start with 12 hours, maybe work up to 13, 14 hours, and maybe that's where you stop. As a woman, we are a little bit more sensitive to this fasting window. So kind of feel that out, see where your energy and your mood is and how your hunger is and how you're eating within that window to assess whether you can go outwards from there. Working up to perhaps 16 hours of a fast, 8 hours of an eating window. For some people, they can even tighten that eating window and do a 20-hour fast and then just 4 hours of eating. Or you could even do a 24-hour fast where all you're doing is water for the day. But I would be really careful with that. Fasting is not for pregnant or breastfeeding women. For people with diabetes, hypoglycemia, although it can help with blood sugar balance, I would certainly recommend talking to your healthcare practitioner before taking this on. If you are over 70 years of age, or if you are a child, if you're really frail, or if you're prone to eating disorders, these are people who should really take a good look before taking on a fasting protocol and speak with their healthcare practitioner first and foremost. So now let's transition. Now that you understand what fasting is and how to make it work for you, the different approaches that are out there, I get a lot of questions on what can you have during that fasting window? Can I have lemon water? Can I have cucumber water? Can I have coffee? What about bulletproof coffee? So my kind of guidance with this is water only, filtered water is best. If you do feel like you're somebody who you can't just have water and function well, you can have black coffee or even Earl Grey tea. The bergamot and the Earl Grey tea is actually great for autophagy, which is cellular cleanup, which is a super perk of intermittent fasting. Your body actually goes in and is able to have the energy to get rid of damaged cells and to kind of do the cleanup work that it just doesn't get to when you're eating all day long and the energy is going to digestion. So water, black tea, or black coffee would be the three things that I suggest sticking to if you're doing an intermittent fast. If you're new to fasting and are starving and are trying to expand outward in that breakfast, those morning hours, rather than maybe the nighttime early eating approach isn't for you right now, maybe you do try bulletproof coffee, but you work your way towards black coffee to make that work in the morning. But again, the best approach, eating an earlier dinner, just drinking water for the rest of the night, going to sleep, and then waking up the next day and having your breakfast. You have water, and then you have your breakfast within an hour to an hour and a half of waking. So intermittent fasting, it's such a great approach. Everybody can do this and everybody should be doing this. This is how we are naturally meant to be. We are not meant to be eating food 24/7. You have to give your body an opportunity to go into detox mode, get rid of the damaged cells of the day, rejuvenate your energy. Remember, your energy, 80% of it goes to digesting food. So if you are constantly eating, you are not doing the repair work. So it will not only help with weight loss, it will help with regulating blood sugar balance throughout the day, which should help with energy or hunger and cravings. It'll also help rebalance the hormones. It'll help to balance out that blood sugar for the day, balance out insulin, helping your body to boost fat burn, and also great for mental clarity because you just have that energy to thrive. So try intermittent fasting. I would love it if you got a lot out of this video. Give me a like, give me a comment below. Have you tried fasting? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? And kind of share your feedback. I'm interested to know. I've tried fasting and I'm currently doing more fasting nowadays and I'm loving it. But I've gone through periods of time where it has not worked for me and it's pushed my adrenals too far, and I've really had to cut back on that window of fast and give myself more of those hours of eating. So play around with it, find what's right for you, and I really think this is a great approach to overall just health and well-being, and that's really what it's about. It's not about going on another fad diet or finding an approach that only works, you can only handle it for a month, maybe 2 months. This is something you can take for a lifestyle and dabble in where you can. Maybe you do longer fasts here or there, or maybe you just stick with that 12-hour fast as many days of the week as possible. I would say if you can do 12-hour fasts almost every single day, and then if you can incorporate 2 longer fasts in per week, that would be really the goal. But again, be careful if you are that population that I explained that is more sensitive to fasting or should not be fasting. The elderly, children, pregnant or breastfeeding women, diabetics, or those with hypoglycemia, eating disorders. Really encourage you not to take on the intermittent fasting. Everybody else, I would say experiment with it and see if it can work for you.